People across British Columbia have been fighting to force the Canadian government to release information on infectious salmon anemia. This is a deadly disease, a listed disease like avian flu, mad cow disease, rabies. It's supposed to be reported to the World Organization for Animal Health, yet the Canadian government have kept this secret for over a decade, and we heard at the Cohen Commission, the inquiry into the decline of the wild Pacific salmon on the Fraser River. We heard today from Dr. Christy Miller, a scientist at the Pacific Salmon Biological Station, that she's found ISA in fish dating back to 1986, so that's at least 25 years. This deadly disease has been in British Columbian waters in farmed and wild salmon tested by the Canadian government, yet it has failed to tell the international community, the salmon nations in Washington, Oregon, California, Russia, Alaska, and the World Organization for Animal Health, and the Canadian public have been kept in the dark.
Didn't the DFO state there is no ISA in BC?
The Minister of Fisheries, Keith Ashfield, issued a statement on the 2nd of December where he lied to the Canadian people. He lied to the US authorities. He misled Parliament, he misled the people, and today he was caught up in that web of lies, that deceit. Dr. Christy Miller from DFO, who is working under the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, under the Minister of Fisheries, basically said that she was very surprised at his statement, and that was a misstatement, a lie. So the Minister of Agriculture as well, Don McRae, lied in the BC Parliament in October. So we've got denials at a high level of Canadian government. We should see mass resignations. John Waring from the David Suzuki Foundation, when he heard about this secret report, said somebody should be going to jail over this. This is how serious this is a crime, this is criminal. There should be an investigation, and heads must roll, starting with the head of the Pacific Biological Station, the Minister of Fisheries, and the Director of Science here in British Columbia.
Why do you think the DFO and the provincial government are fighting so hard to defend and to preserve the Norwegian fish farm industry here, when all of the evidence points that it could be a catastrophe, and it appears to be becoming a catastrophe? It
became abundantly clear today that the issue here is money. If ISA is reported officially by the British Columbian government, if Canada reports ISA in BC, there'll be trade consequences. There'll be sanctions, there'll be slaughter of farmed fish. So this is a huge financial mess, and the cover-up stems from the fact that 80% of BC salmon is farmed. It's farmed Atlantic salmon, not wild Pacific salmon. So the reason this has been covered up is to protect the financial interests of the Norwegian-owned salmon farm industry. They control 92% of the farms here in British Columbia. 90% of production is Atlantic farm salmon, and 80% of BC's salmon exports are farmed salmon, not wild salmon, and 54% of BC's fish exports last year in 2010 were salmon. So that shows the significance of farm salmon and salmon to the BC economy, but the Canadian government is ignoring the $3 billion that the Alaskan wild salmon fishery provides to Russia, the United States, and Japan. So this could trigger multi-billion-dollar lawsuits against the Canadian government. This is a non-disclosure of a deadly disease. This is like the French government failing to report mad cow disease in British cows.